Darth Vader is back, folks. Well, the back of his head at least, but we'll be seeing more of him than that, hopefully, in a few months' time when Rogue One, a Star Wars story, hits theaters this December. Being the franchise's first live-action spin-off film, if you don't count the Ewok movies and holiday special, which you definitely should, Rogue One has a lot riding on it. So will it be any good? Let's speculate, shall we? Despite all the woes about reshoots, the trailers look pretty damn great. I don't think many people would disagree. We're right back in the world George Lucas created back in 1977. The technology, designs, clothing, ships, creatures, and locations are all reminiscent of the original Star Wars: A New Hope. We have the classic stormtroopers with some new badass versions like the Death Troopers to boot. There's the first Death Star, the fleets of Star Destroyers, TIE Fighters, X-Wings, and of course the Dark Lord of the Sith himself. Plus, we're finally getting the backstory to the main plot thread behind A New Hope. A backstory that will literally butt up with the very opening scene of 1977 Star Wars. What more can a Star Wars nerd like myself ask for? The characters seem great, the action seems great, and the fact that they have been stylized more as a war movie is more than great. This is something my younger self would have been through the roof for. Hell, my current self is. There are only some facts that give me some pause, like, will the different tone make it feel less Star Wars and more generic sci-fi? Will the story be bland, predictable, or messy? Will the lack of John Williams' score make that much of a difference? I mean, hell, sometimes I wonder what the original movies would have been like without it. Not good, maybe. Those themes carry so much of the feeling of Star Wars, it's hard to imagine a film without his touch. But I guess most of all, I still have the sinking question bouncing around in my head. Do we need this movie? And in fact, do we need any of the spin-offs? Will these movies dilute the brand? Of course we want to know how the Death Star plans were stolen, but then there's something to be said for the mystery of it. Seeing Star Wars start off without knowing the backstory is half the epicness of that opening scene. From now on, kids might see Rogue One before ever seeing A New Hope. How will that change their viewing experience? I think this problem will be much worse when the Han Solo origin movie comes out, as well as any of the other rumored movies like Boba Fett and Obi-Wan. Although, the Obi-Wan would be sick. So at the end of the day, I think Rogue One will be a good movie. It's got everything I've always wanted to see in the Star Wars world. War and espionage, the exploration of new places and characters, and the spirit of an underdog rebellion winning against the all-powerful Empire. But the fact that this movie and the ones to come could be a bad thing, for the brand and for new viewers. Just think of kids who saw whiny Anakin from the prequels before they ever saw Darth Vader in Empire Strikes Back. Twist at the end aside, do you think they saw the Dark Lord of the Sith the same way the older viewers did? And was their viewing experience better or worse? I'd have to say worse, since Empire was written to be experienced a certain way, with no possible knowledge that 20 years later, Hayden Christensen would be throwing a sissy fit on Tatooine. And that is Darth Vader. But I guess I'm getting old and biased. What do you guys think? Are you excited for Rogue One? Is anyone else worried that these Star Wars stories might dilute the brand? Let me know in the comments below. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. This has been Chris from Barely Sober Jedi. Follow our YouTube page, Barely Sober Studios, where you can check out our news and reviews segments, our Walking Dead Walker Talk reviews, Game of Thrones content, and more. Also, check out our Instagram at Barely Sober News, and our Twitter and Facebook, which I'll link below in the descriptions. Have a nice night. See you later.